family privilege, and judicial authority ever captured in Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom. When the governor's nephew walked in thinking his uncle's political power made him untouchable, he made the catastrophic mistake of threatening a sitting judge with political retaliation. What happened next would not only destroy his arrogance, but trigger a statewide corruption investigation that would shake Rhode Island's political establishment to its core. This story shows us what happens when political nepotism meets judicial independence, when someone mistakes their family connection to unlimited power, and when a governor's nephew discovers that threatening a judge is the fastest way to destroy everything his uncle has built in politics. But before we dive into this incredible political meltdown, less than 1% of you watching are actually subscribed. So please hit that subscribe button, because this story about political corruption and the consequences of threatening judicial authority deserves to reach everyone who needs to understand that no political connection is above the law. It's a tense Thursday morning in April, and Providence Municipal Court is handling its usual docket of traffic violations and municipal infractions. The spring air carries a sense of renewal, but inside the courtroom, the atmosphere is about to become charged with political electricity. At exactly 9:45 a.m., the courtroom doors swing open with dramatic flair, and through them strides Tyler Morrison, the 35-year-old nephew of Rhode Island Governor James Morrison. Tyler moves with the kind of entitled confidence that comes from years of believing that his family's political position grants him immunity from the rules that govern ordinary citizens. He's dressed in an expensive designer suit that screams political consultant, his hair perfectly styled, his demeanor radiating the superiority complex that develops when someone has spent their entire adult life trading on their uncle's name. Tyler is here because 2 weeks ago, he received a citation for reckless driving and street racing. The violation occurred on Route 95, where state police clocked him at 95 miles per hour in a 50-mile-per-hour zone while racing another vehicle. The fine is serious. Minimum $500 plus potential license suspension. But Tyler isn't here to accept responsibility. He's here because he believes his uncle's position as governor should make this all disappear. What Tyler doesn't realize is that he's about to challenge a judge who has been independent of political influence for 35 years and who has zero tolerance for politicians or their families who think elected office grants them special legal privileges. As Tyler approaches the defendant's stand, his body language immediately establishes a confrontational tone. He doesn't show any humility, maintains eye contact with an arrogant smirk, and carries himself with the posture of someone who believes he's doing the court a favor by appearing at all. Tyler Morrison, the court clerk announces, reading from the docket. Tyler steps forward with obvious confidence, his political connections prominently displayed through his bearing and his assumption that everyone in the courtroom knows exactly who he is and why he matters. Judge Caprio looks up from his paperwork with the experienced eye of someone who has dealt with every form of political arrogance imaginable, including politician family members who confuse their genetic relationship with legal immunity. Mr. Morrison, Judge Caprio begins his voice carrying the measured authority of 35 years of judicial independence from political pressure. You're charged with reckless driving and street racing. According to the state police report, you were traveling at 95 miles per hour in a 50 zone while racing another vehicle on Route 95. How do you plead? Tyler's response immediately signals that this case will become a political showdown, unlike anything the courtroom has seen before. Your Honor, Tyler says, his voice dripping with political condescension, I'm pleading not guilty because this citation represents a fundamental misunderstanding of the situation. I wasn't street racing. I was simply driving to an important political meeting and the officer made assumptions. Judge Caprio sets down his pen, never a positive sign for defendants who think they can rewrite police reports. Mr. Morrison, the state police dash cam footage shows you and another vehicle accelerating together, weaving through traffic and reaching speeds of 95 miles per hour. That's not an assumption, that's documented evidence. Tyler's irritation becomes visible. Your Honor, I think there's been a misunderstanding about who I am and the circumstances. The courtroom becomes very quiet. Everyone senses what's coming. Mr. Morrison, your identity doesn't change the facts of the violation. Please explain what you mean by misunderstanding. Tyler pauses as if choosing his words carefully, but what comes out reveals his true mindset. Your Honor, I'm Tyler Morrison. My uncle is Governor James Morrison. I work as a senior political consultant for his administration. I think we can handle this situation more appropriately given those circumstances. Judge Caprio's expression doesn't change, but veteran court watchers recognize the signs of a judge who is about to deliver a civic education about the difference between political connection and legal authority. Mr. Morrison, are you suggesting that your relationship to the governor should affect how this court handles your case? Tyler shifts his weight, sensing he's being led somewhere but too arrogant to stop. Your Honor, I'm simply saying that there are practical considerations. My uncle has significant responsibilities as governor, and having his nephew involved in a drawn-out legal process over what amounts to a minor traffic issue would be a distraction from important state business. The silence that follows is deafening. Tyler has just suggested that the governor's convenience is more important than the judicial process. But Tyler isn't finished making the biggest mistake of his political life. Your Honor, Tyler continues, his voice taking on a threatening edge, I think you should be aware of certain realities. My uncle appointed several judges in this state, including some who have oversight responsibilities. The city's budget depends on state funding that flows through the governor's office. I'm not trying to be difficult, but I think we should find a way to resolve this that works for everyone. Tyler has just threatened a sitting judge with political retaliation. He has crossed a line that will not only destroy his own reputation, but potentially damage his uncle's political career and create the biggest judicial intimidation scandal in Rhode Island history. What Judge Caprio does next will systematically demolish Tyler's political arrogance and send shockwaves through the state's political establishment. Judge Caprio slowly stands up from his bench, an unprecedented gesture that signals something monumental is about to happen. He removes his glasses with deliberate precision and looks directly at Tyler with the calm, measured expression of someone who is about to deliver the political education of a lifetime. Mr. Morrison, Judge Caprio says, his voice remaining perfectly controlled but carrying the full weight of judicial independence. Did you just threaten this court with political retaliation? Tyler, still emboldened by what he mistakes for judicial uncertainty, doubles down on his political intimidation attempt. Your Honor, I'm simply being realistic about how government functions. My uncle has responsibilities and relationships that extend beyond individual court cases. Judge Caprio nods slowly, as if carefully documenting Tyler's threats for the record. I see. Mr. Morrison, since you've threatened this court with political retaliation and invoked your uncle's position, let me share some information with you about how our system of government actually works. The judge walks to his constitutional law books. Mr. Morrison, you mentioned that your uncle appointed judges. Are you familiar with the constitutional principle of separation of powers and judicial independence? Tyler hesitates, sensing he's walking into a constitutional ambush. Your Honor, I understand that government branches work together. That's not what I asked Mr. Morrison. Are you familiar with the constitutional requirement that the judicial branch remain independent from political pressure and intimidation? Tyler's confident demeanor begins to crack as he realizes he's being systematically outmatched. Your Honor, I never meant to threaten anyone. Mr. Morrison, Judge Caprio interrupts, his voice gaining authority. Threatening a judge with political retaliation is not just inappropriate, it's potentially criminal. It's called judicial intimidation, and it's a felony. Under Rhode Island state law. The arrogance starts draining from Tyler's face as he realizes he may have just committed a serious crime while being recorded in open court. Furthermore, Mr. Morrison, you suggested that I should consider the governor's convenience over the legal process. Let me share my qualifications with you. I've been practicing law for 45 years. I've served on this bench for 35 years. I've worked with 4 different governors, including your uncle. I understand constitutional law and judicial independence far better than political consultants who think their family connections make them experts on government. But Judge Caprio is just getting started. What he reveals next will completely destroy Tyler's case and expose the full scope of his privilege abuse. Judge